Alright, hello everyone, this is Leo here. Today I'll talk about the Lenovo Legion Go again, and I'll address the speaker situation. I'll go kind of in depth with this, but before that, I will go surface level with, superficial level with this. Let me go do the login here, put my password, and I've seen videos around of how to fix the speakers on the Lenovo Legion Go, and that's a great video. It's very important that we actually do that, because out of the box the audio experience is not good on this, and it's never gonna be good on this. With the speakers, the built-in speakers that shoot upwards, but what they did is actually very good. I mean, what you can do is much improved. If you just go to Realtek Audio, you don't have to install. I heard some people are installing other programs and stuff like that, and maybe that does improve your experience a lot. I don't know, okay? But you just go into this Realtek Audio console and you go to the speakers and you have this EQ that you can use, okay? Now the thing is the following: this equalizer, it's set to powerful, and I think this makes a lot of sense what they did, because it's the following logic. These speakers, these small speakers, they can produce like this range right here, and on the rest it is very weak. So you just bump up the frequencies that the speakers can't do, and if you measure it, you probably are getting a better, flatter response with this than you were getting maybe, with just flat, like with just flat. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the frequencies that this responds best to are around here, the 500 to the 2K. Or and this is and that powerful thing, it does way too much on the very high frequencies, okay? And the 8K and 16K frequencies, they are very high. Like this is the kind of stuff that if you're for example, if you're playing the guitar and you're equalizing your guitar, not all the instruments, I'm not saying at the end of an entire mix, but for the guitar, you're probably just cutting this down, not 8K but 16K, you're gonna be probably pushing this down, or depending on what, because we use 10-inch speakers, 12-inch speakers for guitar speakers, for guitar amplifiers, and those don't produce these much, right? And so even if you don't mess with your EQ, when you load up a simulation of a speaker, or if you're recording from a real speaker, these are getting cut. What I mean is the following: this is very harsh. These are very harsh frequencies, depending on what you're doing. Of course, if you're playing the flute or some other instrument, especially at a higher pitches, right, you will need this to have the entire tonal color, but having them like high up like this makes the sound very harsh, and it's what happens with the audio on the Legion Go. Out of the box, it's very harsh. Now what people said was for you to use vocal that bumps these frequencies right here, and these are low frequencies which these speakers don't produce very well because they're very small. So again, this logic of, well, let's EQ in a way that we boost the frequencies that the speaker is bad at, right? And so we get better response from the speakers. And here, without boosting these higher up tones that make the sound very harsh. Now let me tell you about my experience with messing around with different speakers and different things. So what I'll say is the following. If you watched one of those videos and you made those and you did this and you did whatever the video said and you're super happy with your audio, then go for it. I'm not telling anyone what to do or not to do. I'm not gonna put a spectrum analyzer with a flat, capture microphone and do an analysis on the response of the audio and whatever and find something technically perfect. And even if I did, and you like something that's technically completely wrong and doesn't have a flat response and everything, if you like it, you like it. This is not what my discussion is about. And I think everyone should just find what they want, right? But just let me tell you, I don't think the people who are giving you like something like this and then bumping everything up and whatever, that they actually did this, that I'm saying that they did some professional level work on this, that they captured and they really know what they're doing. They just did something that they think is right for themselves. And so don't take that as gospel. Don't take that as, well, these are the correct settings that are going to make me have the best experience with these speakers. I don't think that's the case. I personally prefer this to that other one because I think it's too much mids here, too much of this low end that these speakers can't deliver anyway, and the sound just gets muddy to me. Maybe it's even something that depends on the speakers on your specific device. It's possible that a slight difference exists in these speakers. So just my suggestion to anyone is test different settings, hear what you think, and depending on what you think, like this seems like something that could work maybe. Okay, like, because as I said, these speakers, they will tend to be very the range that they can give you is around, but probably a little bit higher. So these, I'd cut this back down again just to avoid the harshness, but it does give you crispiness. This powerful setting that they had, it's very harsh sounding, and it's very, very, again, it's not pleasant, it's very unpleasant. But if you're listening to something, it's very clear. So it's very easy, like if I'm watching a YouTube video of someone speaking and saying their opinion about something, I found this makes it easy to understand what people are saying. It makes it very clear what, at least for voice, what is being said, and that can be a good thing, again, but very harsh. So what do you do? Again, experiment around. Just let me tell you about my experience with speakers and audio, generally speaking, because I also play the electric guitar, and you can on the electric guitar choose different pickups and then change the EQ on the amplifier and mess around with these things. And so by doing that, by using those mechanisms, I realized something. When you don't have frequencies there, okay, when the frequencies are not there, just equalizing them in won't help you, generally speaking. If a speaker does not produce highs very well or not at all, just upping those highs won't fix it. You'll try to fix it, but it's just gonna get very harsh and unpleasant because that's not something that those speakers can naturally do. So in my experience, you can do a little bit. It's like, well, if I give it a little bit of highs, right, it's gonna improve that high response, and if I give it a little bit more bass, then the bass is not gonna be so lacking. And so maybe something like this will improve a little bit your experience with the audio on this device. It's possible. It's possible. But don't try to, in my experience, don't try to overcompensate, because if the speakers, they have a certain response and there is a certain characteristic to them, you can, mess around with it a little bit to try to flatten it out a little bit. In software or in hardware, otherwise, depending, but here we have to do it through software. But don't go too crazy on it, because it's not going to fix it. These speakers, they can't do bass. If you're listening to music that has bass and you know it because you've heard it in other devices that have good bass, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's just no bass there. And you can software edit whatever you want. It's not going to make the speakers move more sound. You'll just end up ruining the other stuff because you're trying too hard, right? You can't. It's just like it's always been with amplifiers and everything. If you just try to put too much through a speaker, you'll just distort the sound. And it's true for EQ also. And so, to me, what they did here is correct and it's perfect, because the audio is very bad. It should have been a little bit better, I think. I think they should have made some effort to make it a little bit better. Maybe here, I'm not sure, because I'm not an engineer at all. Maybe because we have a little bit of a bezel here, maybe they could have made a slit on the side and try to put the speakers there. But the truth of the matter is, you can have speakers on a tablet or on a handheld that are okay, right? And it's better to have okay than having bad ones like the Lenovo Legion Go. It's pretty bad what they have here. You can get better speakers on a small device. But the truth is, even headphones, okay? Even headphones, they have like 4 centimeter. Good headphones have 4 centimeter speakers in them, okay? And they just move a little amount of air, just a tiny bit of air, because it's just right next to your ear. And because of that, they can get away with such small 5 centimeters, 4 centimeters, right? With so small speakers. There's no way they're fitting that in this device. And good headphones, they cost $100 anyway. Right? So what would they have done? There is no way to do this, right? To be actually really good. So again, they could have done it better. Okay, maybe that in the front, but like having a lot more space here just for the speakers would ruin the design of this. And if you really want good speakers, I think the solution for this device really is using headphones or having external speakers. I have right here, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to take them out of here and just show you, but these are compact amplifier speakers that I use for playing guitar and playing the piano. And this is very compact, very small. It doesn't have great response, but it has good response. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. Let me just unplug everything. And these are the small speakers, and this is the Lenovo Legion Go, right? So just the speakers are the size of the Lenovo, and this is not enough. This is not big enough to have full, complete response that is good on all frequencies. And the studio monitor speakers, they have 5-inch 5 inch, not centimeters anymore, like 5 inches of the speaker for the bass. And this is not even the ideal. Usually they have like 7 inches, 8 inches for the bass, and then you have a tweeter with 1 inch or something like that, or 2 inches, 1 inch. Some of them even have 3 speakers to get all the, a flat response on all ranges, on all frequencies. So again, but of course I'm talking at a higher level. But at the low level, just don't sweat it too much. Don't exaggerate, in my opinion. Now, as I said, do whatever you want. Actually, there's also another problem that we have with the Legion Go, which is the following. If we could just get something like this and put the Lenovo Go on there. Like this, it's not gonna do anything because I have the controllers in there, right? But it would probably help a tiny little bit to have this right here, because some of the sound would come forward. But I couldn't take the controllers out here and just put this flat against this tablet holder thing that we have here at home, because then I'd be blocking the vents that are on the back here, which are very well positioned because they're there in the back, but they're up high, so you can actually use many of these different tablet supports, or you can even hold it with your fingers a bit on this bottom part, and you have a lot of space to hold on to the device. Oh, come on, what did I press here? Okay. But if you can't lay it flat, it's a problem that this tablet has. You can't lay it flat against something, and laying it flat against the surface would help a little bit with the speakers. Now, what people do, and that actually does help, and that's a great idea, is have, and some are even magnetic, you just put them on here, like these 3D printed conches that will just throw the sound forward. And it's not perfect. It's gonna always, whenever the sound is being reflected, it's also filtering the sound. So it works like an EQ, depending on what material you use and depending on what shape that has. It's gonna be reflecting some sound waves more than others, but it's definitely better than letting the sound just spread around and be reflected by the wall, by whatever is behind it, because then it's gonna be filtered in a completely unpredictable and unplanned way, and that's one of the reasons why the sound will be bad. So again, having those, I think if you need to improve the sound quality of your device for whatever reason, then I think that's a very good solution. That will tend to be something that will give you much better results than messing around with these things. But if you want good audio, get yourself headphones, or connect this to one of those Bluetooth boxes or something that has some level of quality, and that's the only actual solution that you will have. This is, like, as I'm saying, this palliative thing that you can do it. You can mess around and whatever. If you want to do like this, if you say, well, Leo, I like this setting the best, I think this works brilliantly, and that's what I use, because to me everything sounds beautiful like this. I'll look at it and I'll say, well, probably to me this is gonna be utter garbage, but if that's what you want, if you like it, if it works for you, I'm not gonna tell anyone what, because that's subjective, what works for you or not. That's a different conversation. But what I'm saying is, you might do this, and then, but if you were to look at a spectrum of what frequencies this device is giving you compared to the response that the software is giving, right? Because here you have software telling you a bunch of frequencies, and then that's perfect. That's a right? That's an absolute number that you don't even have to measure. It's just open on the software and you look at it and you have exactly how much is supposed to go into the speakers. And then you look what, what's coming out of the speakers in this device. That would be a completely different range of frequencies. The response would be an absolute mess like this. But again, that's why equalization exists and why it's on almost all kinds of audio end user devices, because each end user will use that different. And again, if you're interested in that, pay attention to this fact of what I said, because we actually do that. And what I was talking about, monitor speakers and things like that, they actually have internal equalizations that you use depending on where your speakers are positioned, because what kind of wall you have behind your speakers will influence the overall sound. And so if you need a perfectly flat response, then if your if your speaker is in the corner, you might do a little bit of something like this, and then if it's not, you might do a little bit of something like this. Of course, the rest would be flat or something, but you would take in and out a couple of frequencies, right? And I'm sure studios, very actual professional, very demanding studios, they would actually have someone set everything up and measure stuff, and then put a little bit of foam over there and a little bit of software equalization to get their curves perfect. 99% of people wouldn't even hear a difference, but these people need that, right? So again, it's a very complex thing, and it's very variable. But don't think for a second that you're gonna go like bang, 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 and magically somehow you have a good audio experience from this device, okay? This is the gist of this video. You're not. And to me personally, and as you said, as you've seen, if you're watching this video so long, which I think very few people would, I know a couple things about sound. So when I say, like, just search for what helps you on your use case, for maybe, if you really need to use these speakers and you care a little bit, don't be afraid to come in and out. And depending on what you're watching, if you're just watching this video right now, for example, you might need to just equalize it a little bit so that my voice is coming through the best it can. And then when you're playing a game, maybe you want to add a little bit of bass, and then you could have some of these presets, because you can save presets and things like that. So you could do that kind of stuff and know what you're doing, right? But just I would not spend, personally, I don't even care about this, right? Because personally, I really believe, like, just use external speakers. And I use headphones all the time, because as I said before, when I'm using these headphones, it's a completely different experience. You have something that, like, and these are very used and already damaged and falling apart over here, but like, these are DT77M 80 ohm biodynamic, specifically made for drums. They are super insulating, and I don't really need them here, but they're just the ones that I have plugged in right now. Again, with 5 centimeter big speakers in them. And if you listen to music on this, and then you listen to music on anything else that's just a normal, like on a handheld, on a notebook, even if it's a good sounding notebook theoretically, like, you'll see the difference that you hear a lot more on these. So again, there is a very large difference in quality. These are not like, extremely expensive, but they're like $150 or something like that. Nowadays, like all these headsets cost $300 because they're wireless and this and that. And some of them don't even have that great audio quality. But they have 7.1 whatever surround sound for your games to locally, spatially find right the sound. So that's a good thing. Also, I don't do that, but I'm not saying that those expensive gaming products are necessarily a scam. But for listening to music, you're paying a lot more for something that doesn't really deliver on that aspect. It delivers on the entire surround sound thing. So I unfortunately I can't recommend you too much on the side of Bluetooth speakers or things like that because I don't use those. I bought some. I bought couple times. I bought Bluetooth speakers, but I had problems with the noise and everything, and it was a very bad experience for me. And I never bought new ones again. I'm sure there are good ones that don't have a lot of noise, that have decent quality. I just don't know them. I bought like these small speaker boxes things also, and the cheaper ones, they are also not great. They are also not very good. The sound is muddy. It's better than the Legion Go, but it's still, I don't know. Like with headphones, I just think that for the money, and they're headphones, like you have to have them on your head, and that can be a problem, but for the money, you get so much more quality with a good pair of headphones, either for just normal headphones or special. I'm in love because I love clarity in my audio more than powerful bass or something like that. And so studio monitors, they're perfect because that's what they're made for. They're made for clarity, even if the sound is not the most beautiful, right? That's what they deliver. Now, I've been using this device for a while now, for a couple weeks only, but and I'm very happy with it actually. Although I did my demonstration where I dropped the controllers and everything, like it's okay. There are only a couple things that I wanted to talk about as far as that, and the audio talk is over. I'm just gonna go through a couple other things that are on my mind about this device. And one of them is the following. I kind of wish that these two buttons were on the tablet, even if it was just an alternate version of them here on the top or something. I don't know, because this button actually, the other one I don't even use. I don't really open Legion, and Legion Space, if I want to, I can either have it auto start or but like I use this as a tablet sometimes, and if I'm just using this as a tablet, I don't have a really quick way of just engaging here. And it's weird how long it takes. You see, I press the button and it takes a long time to open, but I don't have a quick way of just adjusting brightness, sound levels and everything. Well, sound levels you do because you have the volume buttons on top, but changing resolution, doing those things, I can't do them like just like that. I need this guy to be connected to have immediate access to that. And the experience with the tablet itself without the controllers, which I like a lot and I use it a lot, it would be better if we just had this button or a couple extra buttons that you could maybe remap on the tablet itself. That would bring this up a little bit, a notch, and much, because that I think that's very feasible, right? I think they even would have space here in the front to do that. But if they really don't, they could put a couple more buttons here on the top that there's space for them. I'm pretty sure that is possible. And again, it would improve a lot the experience of this console when you're using it without the whatever controllers. Now, maybe if I had a one of those all-in-one mouse and micro keyboard things, I could map something to be this. I didn't take a look. Maybe a key combination to open that, and that would probably work very well. So I'm even thinking of buying one of those, you know, those little, not a full keyboard, just those little handheld keyboards that you type with your thumbs. They look like an old school BlackBerry keyboard, and then you have a touchpad or a scroll wheel or something on the side. I think that might actually improve the experience of this tablet handheld thing when you don't have the controllers attached. What I did buy, and I was very surprised by how much I like this, is just a Bluetooth keyboard. And I guess most people who are into this kind of stuff, they already know this, and they're like, well, you like, do you live under a rock? Yeah, as far as tech, I do. This is just and there are many of these. This is cheap. Oh, it turned itself on. Well, whatever. So this is cheap, and this has actually 3 different connections. So it has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle that comes with it, that is connected to my computer, and then it has 2 Bluetooth connections, and it does switch on the fly. So if I'm using this and I'm doing here, and then I want to type something on the computer, I just change the connection here, and it's not going to be able to connect right now because the computer is not on. And so you see it turns itself off. If I go there, it just immediately connects to the Lenovo. And if I press the Windows key, see, it works immediately. It changes like really quickly, and it works very well. And it's a crappy, it's fine for me, but it has like this terrible, it sounds terrible. It's way too loud, like, because it doesn't have a metal backplate and rubber to dampen the sound. But it's fine, like, because it's a more of a casual thing. It's also not for taking with you everywhere. But there are many other devices, even smaller keyboards that are not mechanical and everything, that you can just put in your bag. And I think that's a great thing that some of them have this capability of changing around between different, like you could have your Android tablet on one Bluetooth and your Lenovo on the other one, and then have a 2.4 gigahertz on your computer at home, or maybe on a laptop or something that you also use, and have all these things that change around. It very, very good to me. It's been serving me well, this little thing. And otherwise, yeah, I unfortunately I have no use for the Lenovo Legion Go. I bought this early because I'm gonna be traveling in about a month, and I wanted to have the device already beforehand to do all the updating, to learn the device, to get all the accessories that I want, and learn how to use the device before getting on the trip. So I already know the caveats and catches and stuff. So when I'm in the trip, not only I have all my files, I have everything set up, I have everything prepared, I have all the games installed, I have all the knowledge that I need, right? But again, also have the accessories and everything that would be required. So it's a fake kind of use scenario, because again, I could just be using the computer that I have to play video games. It's kind of falling apart, that computer, but it still plays the game, so it would be feasible to just be using that. But I'm happy with this, and this is a much smaller thing. It consumes much less energy, and does just as good a job as my older gaming computer at playing the games that I'm playing at this point. And it gives me more flexibility. I actually have watched anime using the tablet, and I learned that that there's this pretty nice thing that happens when you have a device that's made for something like gaming that's quite intense, and then if you're just watching YouTube videos or watching Crunchyroll, as I do, like the battery life on this thing is actually not bad at all. Like you'll get 5 hours out of Crunchyroll, or maybe even more out of this device. If it's not really working on that processor, on the GPU and everything, it has a decent battery, because it has a battery that's supposed to to be able to hold a couple hours of gaming. And so when you're not gaming, you're gonna go for many more hours, and that's nice. It's definitely a nice thing. Of course, that's not special, because if you have an Android tablet that's a decent tablet, it's also gonna give you 6 hours of Crunchyroll. Maybe some don't, but a lot of them do, right? Or at least 4 hours. My tablet, well, I'm not sure. Now I'm saying that, I'm not sure it really does 5 hours of Crunchyroll, because for these tablets, like even just video playback is reasonably intensive for them. But just the screens is also something that use a lot of the power that right. Yeah, at that point you'll be more spending power on the backlight. So it's been a good experience so far. I haven't found too many problems. The speakers do suck. There's no fix for them. Taking these things, I know I dropped it the other day. Like I got used to it, kinda. I don't take them in and out very often, but you totally can. It's a matter of, but it is clumsy though, and now it's off, so it's fine, because I can grab it like this and not worry that I'm pressing the screen. The problem is if you're worried about pressing the screen because it's on, then you kind of want to reach around, and and it's also this thing where if you have to wobble it, and if you have to fiddle and this and find a way, it means that it's bad, right? If it was good, you just press a button or slide a button and it would come right off, and then you just click it in and it would be just very easy and unproblematic. But it's not that it's badly designed, it's just that it's too big of a device with too many things going on that that is just not it's just not practical to do it. And as a last kind of thing, I've been debating whether I ditch these controllers completely and try to just get a keyboard with a trackpad instead of that. Just get a tablet bag. The problem is, like, I will lose a lot of versatility if I do that, because this device still, like, you can, even if you're in the bus or something, or somewhere, right, or on your living room and you sit on the sofa, you can, with the Joy-Con things, you can just, I'm not saying I'm gonna throw them out, but I just mean, like, have the setup in a way where I have a bag with a mouse and a keyboard and something like that, and that's how I use it on the day-to-day. And I just put away the bag with these controllers in them, because that bag is huge, and that's not nice. But I'm torn on that, because I would lose too much versatility, as I just said. Because again, there is so many things that it does, and in my opinion, it does them well. And if I were to make a setup where I ditch the controllers, I'd feel like I'm more strung into specific things that it can do, where it can do more. But again, only time will tell, and now only the real use will really tell whether I used it in this way or used in that way. So after I do my 20-day long trip, is it a 20-day? Yeah, 20-day long trip to Brazil, going there and back. When I come back from that trip, but that's gonna be only April when I'm be back, then I'll really know, like, well, what did I use, what did I not use, did this thing, like, did I hog this thing around like for nothing, and in the end I barely even used any of its features, and a notebook would have been much better, or just I don't know, just take my Amber. But the thing is, like, I really can't, like, dude, when you have something like this, like gaming on a 3DS or on a PlayStation Vita or something, like, it's brutal. Like, this is so, even as heavy as this is, the controls to me, and maybe some people don't like it, but the controls to me are so much better on this. I can't go back, because this is like, of course you're holding it on your hand, in your hands, and you have to hold it up, but I'm strong enough to hold it up for as long as I want to play video. I don't usually want to play video games for more than an hour with a handheld anyway, even if it's a PlayStation Vita. My hands will be cramping anyway, right, with the Vita, because the controls are small, and I'm holding my hands up, and it's tiring, and it's not gonna work anyway. Now with this, it's too heavy, but at the same time the controls are so much better that it does make up for it, for my hands, and I know a lot of people don't like, but can you see this? As I hold it normally, I'm just holding it normally, I'm not doing anything special. You see, my fingers wrap around this thing, and they even touch the tablet over there. So I don't have a problem where, like, this is made for my fingers. I tested this before I bought it. I went there in the store, and they had the Ally, and they had the Legion Go, and they had Nintendo Switches. I played them all. I got my hands on them, and I felt like this one was good, and I like the buttons too. Just the D-pad, I have to say, man, this D-pad, I think this D-pad is trash. I mean, it's perfect for playing Monster Hunter, or for playing like Halo or something where you're just changing weapons or using the grenade, or, you know, doing something like that. It's perfect for that, but it's kind of stiff, I think. I haven't tested it, I'm gonna test it, but I think it's too stiff for playing platformers. It's very precise, it's gonna be perfectly precise, but I think it's gonna feel like trash for playing platformers. The good thing though is, if you just need a D-pad, at that point you can get one of those Bluetooth controllers that are Super Nintendo controllers, and that are small, from 8-bit though, because those don't have the analog sticks. And so if you don't need the analog sticks, that's super compact, that's super easy to take with you and just use that, you know. If you don't have the handheld situation where you need to use the handheld. And that's another thing. If you want to use this for emulation, and you don't need the analog sticks, then it's a different thing, because even something like the PlayStation Vita, or you can get something else a little bit different, like a Nintendo DS, the Switch Lite, or one of these devices that are similar. If you're just using the D-pad, and the D-pad is on the top of the device here, even if it's a much smaller device, then I don't find it that uncomfortable to use that. And so at that point, it's only the screen size. But if you're playing these low-res games that are 240p anyway, I can live with a small screen, right? It's just a Monster Hunter, like reading text and looking. I imagine, because I have to get my face up to the screen to look at the map in the corner here when I'm playing Monster Hunter Rise in tabletop mode, right? Because the map is so small. I just imagine if I had bought like a Nintendo Switch Lite or something like that, I would just I'll just give up, right? It's just not full games. That's a problem that the Switch probably has, especially the Switch Lite. Like some of these games, if you made a game to be played on a 40-inch screen and you take it down to a 6-inch, it's just, I don't think it's gonna work for a lot of titles. I think it's gonna be pretty bad unless unless you have very, very good vision, then it's still not gonna be great, but it could be okay. But I don't want anything smaller than this. Well, welcome to the channel. If you made it through this, all to this point, this is my kind of videos. Again, I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm just some dude with some crazy ideas in his head, and he enjoys making these videos about things that he likes. And so, yeah, that's what my channel's always been about. And I think I'm gonna keep doing this. I do have a question that I might start streaming, but when can I stream? Because this in German time, in the morning of Thursdays and Fridays, I have free time now. Nobody's home, it's just me. So I can take an hour to relax and maybe do a stream or something like that, and talk about these things like once a week. I think that would be nice. That would be a nice change in my routine, just to have. Or maybe I'll just record a video, but I might actually stream. And so is Thursdays or Fridays in the morning good? But it's German time, right? The US people, we're just not gonna be there, I guess, because it's, unless I start very early, but I can't start too early. I can start like 8:30, 9 a.m. here. I don't know, but I was thinking about maybe streaming. But if there is a time where you could watch the stream, you can tell me, because even if it's like Wednesday in the afternoon, I mean, I can do that. It's not like I can't get a weekly hour to do something like that. For recording videos, this is gonna be the day, probably Thursday in the morning, because again, I have a lot of time Thursday. I can't spend the entire day just doing different things. I need a little bit of time to relax, so that's gonna be nice. Yeah, so far it's a thumbs up from me, the Lenovo Legion Go. It's a very interesting device. Again, it's very expensive because it has so many features, but I don't think too many of these features is just wasted. So that's a very good thing, that it has these features and they are actually useful, and it's worthwhile to pay a couple. Even if it's a couple, compared to a Steam Deck, it's a couple $100 more than a Steam Deck. But it's not the same thing, right? You have a different experience because of all the different things. And I couldn't live with the Ally because it has the controllers built in and yet no touchpad. I mean, it used the right analog stick as a mouse. You control the mouse cursor. I guess that could work, but a trackpad is gonna be better, and I really wanted that. I really wanted, like, if you have a Windows device, you really wanted to have a trackpad. Yeah, and you only have like so many options. So maybe in a couple, maybe in a few months or in a couple of years, there are gonna be all kinds of gaming handhelds out there. Or maybe this will be a fad and die away. Sometimes this stuff just don't stick, right? Like it goes, half a dozen companies do their thing, and then, well, whatever. You just get a laptop, because that's totally like, there's not so much that you can do with this that you can't do with a small laptop, But maybe, yeah, I mean, if you use it as a handheld. If you really, really want to use it just as a handheld, then at that point, maybe the Ally and the Steam Deck become much, much more relevant, right? Because, I mean, all these features that the Lenovo Legion Go have, if you really are using it as a handheld, then they kind of become useless. So that's it. Have a good one. Enjoy whatever you own. If you don't own a Legion Go and you already have something that plays games and you're satisfied with that, just play that. You know, don't waste your time on and money on stuff that you don't really need. These YouTubers out there, all of us, we're just pushing garbage onto you with our affiliate links and everything, and we need devices and things to keep relevant and keep talking about things, but don't let that cloud your vision. Just, if you're fine, if you have a 10-year-old computer and you just play play Oblivion on it and you like playing Oblivion, just keep playing Oblivion. It's just fine. You don't have to care about all this stuff that's out there. It doesn't matter. If you just play games on your PlayStation Portable and you're still enjoying Monster Hunter Freedom Unite with the claw grip on your portable, on your PSP, just keep playing your PSP. It's fine, right? It really, really, it can't be said enough, because YouTube is way too biased, and I could get into that one day, but it's way too biased towards selling you stuff and talking about new stuff, because if you talk about old stuff, nobody cares. Nobody's gonna watch the video. And so don't let that bias cloud your vision, right? Try to get clarity on the fact that, well, it's just, it's just a device, and in the end what really matters is what game you're playing and how you're using it. And sometimes we already have everything we need. We're just looking for something because of some other reason. And so just try to find that other reason. If you're really, really all the time looking for something new, what could it be that's telling you that whatever you have now isn't good enough? And have a good one. Have fun. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.